discuss next, it's happening out's Hot Topic of the Week. It's sponsored by the American retail chain Hot Topic. With nearly 700 locations specializing in counterculture-related clothing and accessories representing many varied interests of the LGBTQ plus community, including music, movies, graphic artists, gaming, and more. Hot Topic features one of the largest collections of Pride merchandise that celebrates all aspects of the LGBTQ plus community. Hot Topic is a major supporter of the diversity of our community and supports many events, festivals, and nonprofit LGBTQ plus organizations. And that's why they are the sponsor of It's Happening Out's Hot Topic. So the idea of being genderless is nothing new. It can be traced all the way back to the Greek god Aphrodite. Lately, there has been a lot of talk in the news about gender. But Gen Z and Millennials inheriting this country have a certain view of gender, of LGBT and straight, and of the limiting binary notion of what makes us who we are. A report from Intelligence Group found that 60% of people between the ages of 14 and 34 believe gender lines have been blurred and believe their generation is doing the blurring. A Fusion poll conducted last year determined half of millennials believe that gender is not limited to male and female. Gender exists on a spectrum. Even parents today are adopting gender-inclusive parenting styles. This week's hot topic is, in the 80s, they called it GenderQueer, and today they call it non-binary. Do gender norms even have a place in today's society? What do you kids think?
No.
Okay.
Okay. No.
Sorry. I mean, I feel like we are redefining what it is.
Thank you.
Right? And that's the problem right now, is that we are as a society, we have people that have already defined it, right?
Yeah.
And for them, I mean, take like the gender reveal parties, right? Like we have this joke now about you're basically just revealing your kid's genitalia, right? Like that's all we're doing.
While burning down some forest.
Exactly, right? Like
Well, that's the part that bothers me the most.
Exactly, and I think that for a lot of us, and a lot of I think older people, there's a fear that's about not just change, but like they don't even understand what it looks like.
Yeah. Because
they have associated gender with so many things that are have nothing to do with gender, right? We've assigned everything has a gender. I think about even pet ownership, right? Like guys have dogs, girls have cats. It's like, how have we gotten to that point where like every single thing has some sex determined factor attached to it?
Everything. Boys play with the cars, and the girls play with the dolls, and and it's wrong if the girl wants to play with the truck, but we weren't there for that conversation. Why the hell did we have to uphold that, oh, you're gonna have a girl, so everything has to be pink, vomit everywhere, right? Like Pepto-Bismol, and blue has to be for the boy, Now I see parents doing yellow, because they're allowing the kid to be who they are, and I think it's very unfair to do that, and just put pink everywhere if your kid is non-binary. You don't know that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you don't know that.
150 years ago, it was reversed. Pink used to be for boys.
Really?
150.
And what was the reasoning behind that?
That's what they chose.
That's what they chose.
Yeah,
that's part of the unlearning that you're always talking about.
But that's why I'm not scared, right? Like, listen, I came out gay, and my parents didn't want me to be. Like, everything around me, especially in the Cuban world here in Miami and South Florida, everything is like, you play with cars, you fix an engine, women clean the house. Like it's been instilled in me and my mother and my parents and my grandparents. And I'm not afraid because I wear crop tops, I wear skirts, I wear caftans. I'm as femme as I want to be, and I'm not afraid because I know my nephew, even though my brother would rather him play with cars, one day he'll wake up and be like, no, Dad, I want to play with Barbie today. Yeah. And we're gonna be like, all right, cool. Like, sure, I don't want to push it on anyone, but I'm also not afraid. And I also don't want to push that and scare society because I feel like that whole fear-mongering thing is just as what they were doing to us, and I don't want to do it back because, man, we're going to survive no matter what.
So I also think I'm not scared because I think what we're doing is we're reminding folks. So the folks who looked up to Kiss, Twisted Sister, Boy George, all the folks who didn't do any of the societal norms, but were heavy cis heteronormative into all of that. Well, they wore makeup, they wore heels, they sung all
They started
songs.
that shit.
But nothing was wrong when they listened to them. They never saw themselves differently. And so our young folks who are now saying, you know what, hold on. Y'all, we need to remind them and also connect the dots and say, it's always been here. So why are you giving us all of these now expectations when you all didn't have it. And so you all loved it and nothing was wrong with you. So why do I have to be yellow? Why do I have to be blue? Why can't I just be and just be existing? And it's okay. And if I wear the crop top, it's okay.
And it's okay, yeah.
And nothing is wrong with it.
And the roles are also something that have definitely changed. You know, like I mean, I still hear it today because we live in 2023 and it is what it is. But like somebody will meet me and my wife and be like, oh, who's the boy? Who's the girl?
Yep.
But I'm okay with shit like that though, and not the boy and the girl part. But I'm okay if you take on the role of taking out the trash, and I'm okay if your wife is like, well, I cook.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that shit. And if someone else says, well, this is more masculine, this is more feminine, that's on them. But I don't want you to dictate just because I take out the trash. Like you're hating on me because I want to seem more masculine. No, man, these are just the roles that we took.
Yeah.
And you making it weird makes it that much more harder for me to live my life. The moment you make it weird, it's harder for me to go see a drag show.
Yeah.
My stepfather, when I grew up, we went to see drag shows my whole life. Wow. It was the moment we made it weird that he was like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to watch drag shows?
Yeah.
We would go to the Keys and he 801 Club. He was like, let's run. And we would all make fun of him. The moment we started making fun of him, it became weird. He was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have been weird if we didn't bring it up.
And he took on that responsibility that someone else gave him, and he carried that weight. And I think the moment when we look at our icons, Grace Jones, Annie Lennox, who didn't take on that weight and still was amazingly popular and set trends unapologetically.
Harry Styles now.
And Harry Styles, Sam Smith, like they're doing their thing, that we have to now realize we have to push up them, lift them up, and say, you know what, I'm gonna do. So wear more crop tops, wear more of the leather with the high heel boots, and we're dressing, do some makeup on our faces and step outside. Say, you know what, it doesn't have to be what you want it to be. It's what I feel comfortable in. And guess what? I'm not going anywhere. Make me go. And when we buck that system, is where, again, we gotta learn. We gotta learn from the challenges of the day. Yeah. Black folks said, we ain't going nowhere, we stand. Yeah. LGBT folks said, we ain't going nowhere, we stand. We gotta go back to that moment. I'm in your clubs, I'm in your spaces.
Thing, though, right? This is the part that's always so interesting about gender roles, is that gender roles are such an archaic thing because, and I say this from because I have friends that I have straight cis friends and they have kids and things like that. And for the most part, they're all pretty good, right? But here's the problem, is that we have such a limited imagination when it comes to the spectrum of everything, that the same people think that putting your daughter in pink when she was 5 years old means that, oh, she's not going to be a lesbian, right? And we're looking at, the legislation that we're looking at currently is the thing that's telling us that, right? They are literally legislating things saying that, oh, well, we can't expose our children to this thing because they will turn into homosexuals or they will turn into transgender people. And gender roles are just another segment of that. Yeah. It's all part of the same, and I hate saying it, it's all part of the same homophobia and transphobia because they think that that is a direction, right? If we do it the right way, if my son plays sports from day one, somehow that's going to negate all of this other thing because that's how those kids do it, right? Your kid that you put your son into ballet class at 4 years old, well, that kid's gonna be gay one day. Yeah. That's not how that works.
But you're also battling like generational, for sure, systemic, like learned behavior that we're not going to beat in the next 2 decades or in 2 generations. No. But it's going to happen. You have to know that the percentage of us queer people is growing. The percentage of people being on the spectrum is growing. The older people that are still very homophobic are dying off. They're going to die eventually.
I hope so, but again, learned behavior. So let's go back into the native world. In the native world, women rule. Women, the clans, the names, how you belong are generated from the women. It doesn't negate how strong the man is in your masculine energy or the feminine energy. However, the level of respect. And so when you navigate through that world, you get that respect. I'm gonna still be the man that I am, but still know that women rule the world. It doesn't make me gonna be gay. It doesn't make me gonna be less than. What it's gonna do is get a level of respect. It's the lesson that was taught from the Puritan society that came over and said the man has to be and you have to be X, Y, and Z.
The rules were still laid out from Puritan society.
From that society.
Even if you take out the queer section of this, right?
Absolutely.
Why is it that women still don't make as much as men? Mm-hmm. We know for a fact, for like the last 20 years, women are more educated.
Absolutely.
But we know why.
But I know that, but it all goes back to the same thing.
It does.
All goes back to the same idea that, well, women are less than, right? Women are not the breadwinners, even though women are definitely the ones supporting, because I mean, we all know women like this. They work a full-time job.
Yeah.
What happens after the full-time job? They come home
and do another full-time job.
They do another full-time job, right? It's all part of, but somehow she's still seen as, well, you know, I know you're doing the same as Mr. Johnson, but Mr. Johnson's gonna make more money.
Yeah.
You're doing the same job.
But we're not. But we don't see it. That's the thing about, that's the part that irritates me, is that I don't see that anymore. And maybe I'm like looking through rose like colored lenses, but like policies have changed. Like companies are now giving you, you know, time off. They're giving you the job. Like they can't discriminate if you're pregnant or not. They're giving you the dollar that you need.
So
like,
may I just ask you this? It was a thing that the woman senator that's running in California, she was interviewed, and I'm pretty sure many more women senators get asked, so what happens to your kids, or what happens to your family life if you get elected?
Yep.
No one has ever asked a male politician.
They don't ask them that.
And so that's what I'm saying. That's where the problem comes. Where why are we asking those
Multiple
questions?
women and
Why are we doing this?
Katanya. Anybody who's had to.
And so that's what I'm saying. I just want to flip back on you. And I can't think of the lady's name. She's a single mom, and they asked her that, and it's like, hold on, we never asked Joe Biden that.
Yeah.
So we never asked Donald Trump that. We never asked anybody of those things. So why? It is an issue, but it's unfortunate that, again, it's been an unlearned behavior that we have to unlearn, that women can do many more and have always done. Even in African society, although there's a king, he still goes to his queen for conference. Hey, what do you think? How do you feel? Because, again, that's why the Two-Spirit is so amazing, because there's a certain level of intuitiveness that comes with that, and ability.
Boo, you gotta check them.
You gotta check it.
So I think collectively the answer is no.
I think the thing is that we're, you know, as much as I actually had a conversation this weekend. So, you know, we were having the show at the theater, and two of our company members work with young people, right? Like teenagers. And just them talking to me about their world, I was gobsmacked. I genuinely was like, I don't even understand half what you're saying anymore. And I've never thought of myself as like getting older, but for a moment there, I thought, yeah, these are two different worlds now.
Right.
And the young people now, because we are in the digital world at this point, right? We are analog. They are in a very different world at this point. They are looking at things and analyzing things, and they are doing it in a very different way.
Or not analyzing it.
Right.
Or not giving it all that attention.
Give it,
You understand?
yes.
Like I have little nieces and nephews, and they'll come, you know, and I'll
That's
introduce them
huge.
to a non-binary kid, and they'll be like,
It's
you know,
like-
their pronouns are they, them, and this is their name. Okay,
Okay,
bye. And they
okay.
run off to play. Like literally,
Yeah,
I've
literally.
seen it in front of
Done.
me. And I'm like,
because they're
not a
just,
thing.
That's
they're
my
looking
point.
at it now like, okay, why is it? And I think that a lot of it comes from the world of, why not just say okay?
Why not?
Right?
Why not? Why is that a thing? To
Unlearn
say,
that
right,
behavior.
Hey,
Unlearn.
this is me. These are my pronouns. Or this is me. This is my wife or husband. Why not just say
Okay.
And move on.
How is that difficult?
If I come home at 3 a.m, don't ask me why. Okay,
I won't.
it just is what it is.
I just tell you to roll over. Let's get to go. That's all I promise.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that
We saw your live stream.
we
know
saw it.
why.
Thank you. Listen, my subscription is well worth it. I say thank you to you, Jonathan
That is
Catania.
the
All
most
right?
lit-
We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.